When Napster first came about, I didn't understand the internet yet. I thought Yahoo was a person.
Damn.
Hello again, and welcome back to another one. And today we have a couple of topics to cover as we finally got to hear from Joe Budden when it comes to the Diddy video that sparked some interesting reactions, as in turn Joe Budden is getting exposed after he went off on Diddy, and not just by users on social media, but his ex decided to come for his neck since he is bold enough to speak about the Diddy video. And today we also have more on this time aimed at the people who were primary witnesses when it comes to Diddy, who are finally speaking out. An actor and comedian, D.L. Hugley, put them on blast on his show, and we'll get to more on this in a moment. And speaking on Diddy, 50 Cent made a couple of big reveals on what's been described by some as the right way to channel hate, similar to what Kendrick Lamar did to Drake, as 50 Cent revealed he cashed in recently when he sold his Diddy documentary to Netflix. And we'll expand on this in a moment, as cashing in on Diddy's demise is certainly not enough for 50 Cent, as you'd see in a bit. And today we also have more from Eminem, as we got a trailer a few hours ago for the documentary How Music Got Free, produced by Eminem and LeBron James, centered on how file sharing during the start of the digital age changed the music industry forever. And while the internet was going off on the fact that Eminem thought Yahoo was a person, another theory linked to his new album surfaced online, this time pointing to the date May 31st. And while some believe it points to the album release date or a collab with an unexpected artist like we covered in the last video, we got those who believe last trick present in the message is actually an anagram for what to expect on the 31st. Check this out from Reddit. Has anyone noticed that Tracklist is an anagram for last trick? And knowing what we know from Revival, some have suggested under reveal the tracklist but keep features hidden. A wise move if they don't want Revival 2.0 reception, when the album was for a fact reviewed and scored by social media days before it actually dropped off the tracklist alone. And moving on to the next point today, if you were with us for the last video, former Diddy's bodyguard Roger Bonds exposed what he witnessed during his time working with Diddy, and even on Piers Morgan Uncensored, he shared details of how Diddy put his hands on multiple women. Of course, he was called out for staying silent all these years, and he shared a rebuttal. And today we have more on this discussion from actor and comedian D.L. Hugley, who put these people on blast. The people who witnessed Diddy firsthand, who are only coming out today. Check out some snippets from the D.L. Hugley show.
If you are telling a story about something you knew and you didn't do anything about it, you're not a witness, you're an accomplice. These things can only happen with people who are willing to aid and abet as long as there's something in it for them. They're willing to look the other way or pretend like it didn't happen or to say nothing. The protection of womanhood requires that you may have to sacrifice something for yourself, even though it might cost you money. It might cost you an album. It may cost you something. But if we are going to say things like it is about the protection of womanhood, then that might require some level of sacrifice. I never have cared for Puffy. I always had an aura about him. I never have. He always seemed like that type of man. So seeing that video, as shocking as it was, for some reason didn't shock me at all. But the truth of the matter, there are a great many people who knew what was going on. A great many people who could have said something and done something. And you can tell who they are because now they're the ones with the story to tell. All this silly stuff I hear about, if it had been a white one, no matter who it was, nobody deserves that. Nobody.
And this sparked split reactions, as on one end, I agree with DL 100%. Never ever cared for Diddy either. Always seemed shady to me. However, on the other end, he's been put on blast by some users since he's been caught up in some controversies in the past, also involving women, hence takes like kinda funny because his ish ain't clean either. To which a user expanded, thank you. DL's own backstory is so effed up, and he made no public apology to MJ's family either. I guess MJ fans haven't forgiven him for how he put MJ and R. Kelly in the same box. And moving on to the next point, before we get to Joe Budden's take on Diddy's apology video, if you recall from the last video, Cameron decided to troll on CNN when they were asking him about Diddy. That included what is probably the wildest segment of a CNN interview in 2024 so far.
So I'm going to get some cheeks after this horsepower joint.
And he recently addressed the viral video on his podcast, It Is What It Is, and he explained why he handled the interview in such manner. Check out some snippets.
Yeah, no, they invited me on the show to talk about what's going on with Diddy and all that. And then my thing about it was, Mace, stat is that they didn't invite me on to say about how successful our show is or the positive stuff we do in the community, how every day, 5 days a week, Mace talks to kids on a Zoom call. Mace doesn't even promote this. I'm going to promote this for Mace. Is that every day at 5 o'clock, it don't matter what's going on, he stops what he's doing to talk to kids around the world about being positive and doing what they believe in and so on and so forth. We do all these positive things, and you call me on CNN for the bullshit, I'm going to give you the bullshit. That's just what's going to happen. So we got some free promo. I teased the Pink Horsepower. I don't know why they didn't watch 60 Minutes. They didn't watch Bill O'Reilly. This is what I do on them joints, boys. I'll keep inviting me up to Fox, CNN, 60 Minutes. You already know what the resume is with them shows with me.
And his explanation has sparked takes like, I know there's a lot to unpack with Cameron on CNN, but something journalists should take away from this too is you have to build relationships with people and communities. Outside of the moment, you need a quote about some bad stuff. This is why journalism is struggling, to which a user added, she also has to know who she is interviewing. He has a history of wild interviews, not sure what she was expecting. And even the Joe Budden podcast echoed this point when Joe shared his thoughts on the Cameron interview. Check out a snippet.
Like he said, he started talking to the talent agency. Hey, yo, who put me up here for this? It wasn't him having that conversation, yo, I'm coming up here to discuss Puff. They had an agenda, he peeped it in real time, and all right, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
And I'm gonna promote while I'm here.
So if y'all feel a way about how Cam looked, I'm not saying that you're right or wrong, but I'm saying CNN had a lot to do with that. Hey. Like, y'all are responsible for who y'all put on camera and what they say.
And if y'all know Cam, he did a good job with this, because he could have.
He still answered, and y'all playing with me behind the scenes, so I'm gonna get on camera and play with y'all in front of y'all face. Pause. Like, yeah, that's literally what this was. Yep. I'm not about to fall into the trap. And if y'all really wanted the real conversation, you could have had it with Mace, my co-host.
Cameron.
Thank you.
Cameron. Yo, that lady was sick of him.
She still held it down too, though. She
did.
She did. They both held it down for what they was doing.
She did.
And moving on to 50 Cent, after TMZ broke the news, 50 Cent sells Diddy documentary to Netflix after bidding war, and 50 Cent's reaction to banking on Diddy's downfall was certainly on brand. When it comes to his villain status, he reacted, TMZ used this fat boy picture of me because their documentary went to Tubi, LOL. It is okay, guys, we're all making great television, mine just happens to be the best. Netflix wins the bidding war, but if more victims keep coming out, shrugs emoji, I'm gonna need more episodes. And 50 Cent shared an update. Okay, TMZ put up a 2024 picture, baby, let's work, LOL. And following the reports that New York Mayor Eric Adams is considering taking back the keys to the city that was awarded to Diddy, 50 Cent took to Twitter to react. Damn, so now they want the key back, flushed face emoji. They took the music off Peloton to make sure no fat girls like him, facepalm emoji. This is diabolical, LOL.
You have to perform an exorcism.
And moving on, if you recall, Joe Budden faced backlash for editing out the segment reacting to Diddy's video from a previous episode of his podcast. However, he has finally addressed Diddy, and like some users pointed out on social media about why he was reportedly trying to stay away from the Diddy topic. If you didn't know, well, you're about to find out now that he's spoken about Diddy. And before we get to it, check out some snippets from the Joe Budden podcast where he went off on Diddy.
Part of what makes somebody a genius is knowing that they don't know. There has to be this God complex that comes with that. At some point, you need to know yourself when you are in no shape or condition to call shots in your own best interest. It's too much at stake at this level. There's too many people involved at this level. It's your legacy on the line. You have let too many people down. And when I talk about being a lying sack of shit, before we even get to the lies told on Instagram pertaining to the case, I'm talking about the lie of black excellence. It's a few of you niggas moseying around out here under the good name of black excellence, and you niggas are living like pieces of shit. Hey, you not white. You can't do what them white niggas do and say, hey, I'm checking into rehab and all will be well.
Nope.
You not white, and this ain't 20 and 30 years ago. You niggas need to be stripped of all of this shit that y'all on. I'm talking about the vices, the pills and vices, include these young girls. Every time I start talking about niggas and the young girls, everybody tell me to shut the up out there. But it says something. Don't tell me that you that nigga and you can't get a girl that's above 22 and 23.
And users wasted no time to come for his neck now that he's spoken about Diddy. And we got takes like, now I'm not defending Diddy, but Joe Budden has a lot of nerve. He beats women for sport. And boy, they kept going. Joe Budden dated younger women and was allegedly involved in domestic violence, then bashes Diddy for that. At least Queensflip can admit his wrongs and keep quiet. This show is a hypocritical mess. Of course, when people pushed for him to speak on Diddy, it was also a setup to expose him based on previous reports about him. And boy, Joe Budden's ex Tahiri saw the headlines about Joe Budden blasting Diddy, and she came for him in no time. And on the Shade Room's report, she posted, F outta here. Who? The irony. This is so triggering. I remember Joey throwing me down a flight of stairs, dragging me back into the house, and me having to talk him into letting me go. And boy, it is some wild allegations on Joe Budden right now. Check this out. Joe literally beat a woman into miscarriage. In summary, quit asking abusive men how they feel about women who have dealt with abusive men. And some have even expanded. They said it is a lot of Diddy's talking about Diddy. And some believe it is time Joe Budden seeks help, just like Diddy. Her, Cynthia, Esther Baxter, her son, Trey's mom. Joey has a long history of beating women and rapping about it. He needs help. And the irony is that Joe Budden blasted Diddy for his apology, while at the same time he set himself up to get exposed for allegedly doing things similar to Diddy. That will be all for today, and I'll be looking forward to your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.